It's like suddenly we're taking off our clothes in the town square. And it's like, wait, this is not what I meant in terms of reimagining the dream of what relationship meant and seeing things from a different perspective and transforming my connection to the community is to be stripped naked in the town square. Our sense of vulnerability is being exposed. Our sense of intimacy is being illuminated to the many. I mean, even just saying that sounds horrifying to me. I don't even know where this is coming from, but wow, that just sounds awful. That might drive you deeper into the cave. Might drive you deeper into the cave and just say, no, I'm not ready for this. So don't be too hard on yourself if you find yourself scurrying into the corners of darkness. Because fully exposing yourself in the eyes of the many may not be what you are ready for. Welcome to the Weekly Transit, your guide to understanding the current planetary and astral alignments. Together, we'll explore how to harness these cosmic frequencies, empowering you to reach your highest potential as you navigate the days ahead. I'm your host, Scott Tajarian. Welcome to the Weekly Transit. This is the week of September 22nd to the 28th, where we will be covering 6 transits highlighted by Mars transiting into Scorpio and the Sun transiting into Libra. At the end of the episode, or after we get through all the transits, I will share with you my latest Substack essay where I am covering historically over the last 60 years or so that the Sun has transited through Libra while Mars is transiting through Scorpio. This is not an annual occurrence. This doesn't happen too often. And just specifically, if you're curious to know how often it happens, let's see, so since 1959, it's happened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 times. 16 times over the last, what would that be? 66 years? 16 times over the last 66 years, that's not too often. So we're going to dive deep into the historical significance of that at the end of the episode. But I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for choosing to spend some time with me. Your time is valuable, and so I really hope that what we're sharing through the podcast is something that is empowering you and supporting you on your journey through life. Life has been intense over the last couple of weeks or so. I don't need to get into why in terms of what's going on out there in the world, but you can reflect how that feels for yourself. It's interesting because we're going to talk about the Sun transiting into Libra, but before we do, I just want to kind of close off the Sun's transit through Virgo and really maybe paint Virgo in a little bit different light than what you may be used to. Venus is still transiting through Virgo, so we're still having a sense of that energy, though none of the transits that we're talking about this week have to do with Venus transiting through Virgo. But the misnomer about Virgo is it's this really It's the innocent virgin. The innocent virgin, the pristine innocent virgin. You think of a child, of a young girl that is still a virgin and pristine, but that's not what I think of when I think of Virgo. And I think of the virgin, I think of the nun. The nun. And the nun, man, if you watch that Taylor Sheridan show miniseries called 1883, and you see how he portrays nuns back in the 1800s, I mean, they're brutal. And it's not to say that all nuns are this way, but, they do have their reputation as being harsh. And so, should any of us be surprised at the harshness of what we experience when the sun transited through Virgo? It's intense. That critical, overly analytical vibe that wants to punish for the smallest of errors or mistakes. The punishment can feel so harsh. And so how have you felt with the sun transiting through Virgo? Maybe you're listening to this right as you're experiencing the new moon solar eclipse in Virgo, which is undoubtedly very intense. How has that been for you? How if you're listening to this after the eclipse, how was the eclipse for you? Write a comment in. Let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify. I'm curious to know how this Virgo energy has treated you, and even more specifically, the new moon solar eclipse in Virgo. But as we begin the week, the first transit of the week that we're going to highlight actually involves Mars in Scorpio. So Mars is transiting through Scorpio from September 22nd, that's Monday, to November 4th. So from September 22nd to November 4th, the sun is transiting through Scorpio. Not the sun, Mars. Come on, get your mind straight, Scott. Mars is transiting through Scorpio. Mars is transiting through Scorpio September 22nd to November 4th. Mars is the god of war, the planet of action, aggression, and conflict. It's the planet of courage, confidence, and authenticity. It rules the fixed water sign symbolized by the scorpion, Scorpio. It shares its rulership with Pluto, the god of death, lord of the underworld, the planet of transformation. So undoubtedly, when Mars is transiting through Scorpio, we're going to dig deep. We're going to dive deep into our passions. You're going to potentially uncover inner motivations, maybe passions that you weren't even fully aware of until something happens, that triggered phrase that everyone's been using over the last several years. What is triggering you? What is sparking something within you? What is motivating you? Passion, where you're not thinking, you're doing just because that's what the feeling is within you. It's instinctual. It's like that parable of the frog and the scorpion, where the scorpion's at the edge of the stream and is like, sees the frog and says, "Frog, I need to get to the other side of the stream there. Can you help me get across? I can't, get across on my own." which is kind of an odd parable because, scorpions can live in water. So seemingly a scorpion could go into the water and cross through the water to the other side. But no, it asked the frog to give it a lift. And the frog's like, no way, man. No, I'm not doing that. Why not? Because you'll sting me. No, I won't. I promise. I'm not going to sting you. And the frog's like, I don't know. I don't trust you. I'm not sure about it. I promise. I have nothing against you. I'm not going to sting you. So the frog relents and says, okay, hop on my back. And the frog starts to take the scorpion across the stream. And halfway across the stream, the scorpion stings the frog. The frog's like, why'd you do that? And the scorpion says, I don't know. It's in my nature. So from September 22nd to November 4th, this is a 6-week period where your instincts are going to be on high alert. And you may find that you're operating in ways that are almost unrecognizable to you. Because Scorpio is the shapeshifter. Mars rules Scorpio. It also rules Aries. The difference between the two is Aries is cardinal fire. It's symbolized by the ram. The ram is very clear in its attack. Mars ruling Aries is like the grunt, the soldier that's charging across the battlefield, firing the weapon, screaming, protecting the border or the boundary, or attacking the border or boundary. Meanwhile, Mars ruling Scorpio is already behind enemy lines as the spy. So Mars in Scorpio is going to bring up those deep parts of yourself that you didn't even know perhaps existed. It might be like the scorpion and the frog, where it's like, I didn't even know I was capable of this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did this. So really watch yourself. Notice your behaviors. Notice your instincts. Notice what is motivating you. And for those who were born with key astrological points or planets in Leo and Aquarius, there could be tension here. For everyone who was born between 1937 and 1957, you were born with Pluto, the god of death, in Leo, the fixed fire sign symbolized by the lion. The lion doesn't back down from anyone or anything. The scorpion doesn't back down from anyone or anything. So if you were born between 1937 and 1957, then the god of war is going to square your god of death. If you were born in 1937, it's going to happen right around September 27th. If you were born in 1957, it's going to happen around November 4th. But any planets that you have in Scorpio or in Leo and Aquarius, because Aquarius is fixed air, the water bear doesn't back down from anyone or anything. And even Taurus, the bull, doesn't back down from anyone or anything. If you have any planets in Leo or Taurus, which is the opposition from Scorpio, or Aquarius, you are experiencing maybe some tension whenever Mars hits that point in your astrological code. And if you're curious and you don't know, like, I don't know what you're talking about, Scott. Like, maybe I have a planet there, or I have a planet there, and I don't know what it means. You can contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. We can give you guidance for how to navigate this transit of Mars in Scorpio so that you can work with the energy to support yourself. to thrive during this period. And so how do we thrive with Mars in Scorpio? We thrive by recognizing our passions. We thrive by recognizing our manipulations, our paranoia. When we recognize our paranoia or how we're manipulating others, we are noticing where there is an energetic exchange where someone is feeling depleted. Maybe you're feeling depleted in a relationship, and that is causing you to navigate that relationship from a manipulative perspective. If that's you, then it means that it's time for you to transform that relationship. Maybe it's time for you to end that relationship. But if you're not ready to end it, it's about connecting with that person and letting them know that you're feeling drained by the exchange. Or at least opening up and having that discussion. And there's going to be support to do that with the Sun in Libra, which we'll get to in a minute. But before we do, I just want to highlight the most recent dates that Mars has transited through Scorpio previously. The last time Mars transited through Scorpio was October 11th to November 24th, 2023. The time before that was October 30th to December 13th, 2021. The time before that was November 18th, 2019 to January 3rd, 2020. And the time before that was December 3rd, 2017 to January 18th, 2018. So think back to those dates for clues on what could be in store for you this time around as Mars transits through Scorpio. Check your social media posts, your photos, your emails, your text messages, if you've held on to them for, 5-6 years, however long. But that's going to give you some insight. It's going to help conjure up the memories that you have of those periods, and maybe that will help you reflect on some of what we've discussed here, what you've heard, and how that showed up in your life during those dates. Now, the second transit of the week involves the Sun in Libra. The Sun transits through Libra from September 22nd to October 22nd. So the entire time that the Sun is transiting through Libra, Mars is going to be transiting through Scorpio. That is very rare. The last time that the Sun transited through Libra, and the entire time that it was transiting through Libra, Mars was in Scorpio, was September 22nd to October 23rd, 2010. So it's been 15 years since this has happened. The time before that, where they were together for that long, was 1995. So it was 15 years before that. And the time before that was 1978. And the time before that was 1963. So 2025, 2010, 1995, 1978, and 1963. 2010, 95, 78, and 63. Those are the last 4 times that we experienced what we're about to experience right now, with the Sun transiting through Libra as Mars transits through Scorpio. So the Sun transits through Libra every year from around September 22nd to October 22nd, depending on what time it is and where you are on planet Earth. But this is the planet of vitality, light, life, and vitality, transiting through the cardinal air sign, symbolized by the scales, which represent balance, harmony, equanimity, fairness. Libra is ruled by Venus, the goddess of love, the planet of relationships. So it's an interesting juxtaposition where you have the planet of vitality transiting through the sign that represents relationships, love, harmony, balance, while the god of war transits through the sign of subversion, manipulation, paranoia. Now, it's not a one-note thing like that, but it's an interesting juxtaposition. On the flip side for Scorpio, it's passion. When Mars is transiting through Scorpio, it's a time for us to release or follow our passions. With the Sun transiting through Libra, it's helping us see what is out of balance in our relationships. This is a time to renegotiate the terms of our relationships, but at the same time, you have to watch for the subversion that is happening through your actions. Is it peace on the surface and war beneath the surface? That's a stark possibility with the Sun in Libra and Mars in Scorpio at the same time. So really watch yourself. What is going on the surface, and is that reflecting what's going on beneath the surface? I should also say that with Mars transiting through Scorpio, like if you were born with any key points or planets in the earth or water signs, Taurus is maybe tense, but you think of the earth signs, Capricorn and Virgo, and then the water signs, Cancer and Pisces. This Mars in Scorpio is giving you a lot of support to achieve your goals and ambitions. It's helping you do the work beneath the surface. Meanwhile, the Sun in Libra is supporting those who were born with key astrological points or planets in air and fire. Specifically, Libra, of course, but Gemini and Aquarius. And then the fire signs, Leo and Sagittarius. Aries might be a little tense because that's the polarity, that's the opposition. The opposition to Libra is Aries. So Libra is focusing attention on our relationship with the people in our lives. It's not necessarily just a lover, but it's a friend, it's a business partner. What feels peaceful is in balance. What feels out of balance creates discordance. So when you think of Libra being a cardinal sign, this is the beginning of the season, the beginning of fall in the northern hemisphere, spring in the southern hemisphere. It's the equinox. So isn't it interesting? It's the equinox. It's when light equals day. No, day equals night. Light equals darkness. The day is as long as the night. It's equal. It's balanced. So it's interesting because Libra's the scales. So day and night are balanced. And then the scales start to shift. More light in the southern hemisphere, more darkness in the northern hemisphere. And this is encouraging you to initiate the conversations that need to be had, in your relationships in order to create balance, harmony, equanimity, peace. Conversations, because Libra's an air sign, and words. I'm speaking, it's traveling through the air to your ears. So this is why with Libra we talk about initiating the conversation. What conversations would you like to initiate in your relationships. Right now, you might be saying, nothing, I'm good. My relationships are good. Though I doubt it, because with Mars transiting through Libra, undoubtedly there's been some conflicts in your relationships. Perhaps not. I'm not an omnipotent God. I don't know everything. But if you are somebody who's saying, no, my relationships are peaceful, they're harmonious, everything feels balanced and fair, amazing. But during this period, when the Sun transits through Libra and Mars transits through Scorpio, maybe Mars in Scorpio is bringing something to light, hidden beneath the surface, that is then illuminated with the Sun in Libra. That's like, oh yeah, this is kind of an issue. I have been ignoring that. We need to talk about this. So this week is really going to start out intensely, potentially, because we just covered the first 2 transits, and the next 4 transits, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, all involve the Sun. The 6th involves Mars. And they all happen in the first half of the week. So it may feel like we're being shocked with this new energy. And it's a lot because we've already experienced. Last week was, in addition to the solar eclipse in Virgo, it was Mercury transiting into Libra on Thursday, September 18th, and it was Venus transiting into Virgo on Friday, September 19th. So in the course of, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, in the course of 5 days, we have 4 planets transiting into new signs. That's a dramatic shift. And what makes it even more dramatic is the 3rd transit, the 4th transit, and the 5th transit all involve the Sun in Libra, aligning with the same 3 planets that we were talking about last week when Mercury transited into Libra. This is the Sun in Libra opposing Neptune retrograde in Aries, the Sun in Libra forming a trine with Uranus retrograde in Gemini, and the Sun in Libra forming a trine with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. These aspects with the Sun and Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto all occur exact on Tuesday, September 23rd. And this is something that we're going to feel most intensely from Monday to Thursday. So as the Sun opposes Neptune, could bring about some confusion. Confusion in terms of, who am I? Who am I in this relationship? I used to be so clear about who I was in this relationship, and now I really don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who I am. I'm not sure who my partner is. I'm not sure how we fit together. If that's you, good. It just means that it's time for you to reimagine the dream of who you're meant to be in relationship. It doesn't mean that it's the end of the relationship, but for any relationship to endure, it must change. It must evolve. I think anyway. Maybe there's someone out there listening who says, no, I've been with my spouse for 50 years and everything's been exactly the same since we first met. Okay, great. I hear from most people, though, that there are changes that occur in relationships. And this Sun in Libra opposing Neptune retrograde in Aries is inviting a reimagination of what relationships are meant to mean to you. whatever relationship that may be. It could be a friend, a lover, a business partner. The sun in Libra forming a trine with Uranus retrograde in Gemini is saying that's supportive. It's recognizing that you're able to see things radically different than how you viewed them in the past. Maybe you start to notice that, my relationship used to be this way, but I'm ready for it to change. I'm ready to see things differently. I'm ready to invite a new perspective. And maybe this occurs through the conversation that you're having with your lover, your friend, or your business partner. It's like, hey, let's check in. I want to hear your experiences in our relationship and what that means to you. What can I learn from this? What can I learn from how we're connecting? It's about being willing to see things from a different perspective. Are you open to seeing things from a different perspective within your relationships? What are you willing to learn from your partner? Is there anything you can learn from your partner? The answer should hopefully be yes, because that's ultimately what we're here to do. We're here to learn from one another. And the more we learn from one another, the more we'll understand each other. The more we understand each other, the more we will accept each other. And the more that we're accepting one another, the more we're appreciating each other. And once we're appreciating each other, that's when we can truly find the love for one another. The sun in Libra forming the trine with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. This is kind of like this is the reward, let's say. The reward. And it's not just the reward for you, it's the reward for everyone. Because as you recognize that the faith that you've lost within yourself as a partner or in relationship is the very thing that is inspiring you to reimagine who you are, who you can be within the relationship dynamic. And once you've accepted that it's time to reimagine who you are within the relationship dynamic, and now you're open to receiving new information, to learning something new from your partner, to seeing things from a different perspective. Once you're in that frequency, then the sun in Libra trine Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is facilitating the transformation that is meant to occur in society in the highest frequency. Because Pluto in Aquarius is encouraging us to transform the way we connect with others in a broader sense, through community, through our society. In order to show up differently in the community, in society, we need to reimagine who we are in relationship and be open to learning new things from the people that we connect to. So the sun in Libra trine Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is really opening things up. It's opening us up to an entirely new perspective of what relationship can mean. You may come away from these aspects of saying, like, I'm seeing relationships in a totally different perspective. I've never even thought about it like this before. And now it's starting to make sense. Through the chaos of what's occurring on Earth, I'm able to find clarity from seeing things in a completely different manner than how I was seeing things before. And that's the growth. That's the transformation. And that leads us to our final transit, the 6th transit of the week. Mars in Scorpio squaring Pluto, retrograde in Aquarius. So this is a tense one. So we've got those two flowing aspects of the Sun in Libra, trine Uranus, retrograde in Gemini, and trine Pluto, retrograde in Aquarius. But then Mars, the god of war, squaring off with its brother, its good friend, fellow ruler of Scorpio, Pluto, the god of death. This is the tension. This is occurring Monday to Friday, with the exact square occurring on Wednesday, September 24th. So maybe this is the aspect that's kind of stopping us in our tracks. It's like maybe we're feeling things. It's like, yeah, I'm ready to reimagine who I am in relationship, see things from a different perspective, open to transforming what relationship means to me and how that affects who I am within the group dynamic and how the group perceives me. But then Mars squaring off with Pluto is saying, but that means you're going to have to be vulnerable in a new way. Uh-oh. You're going to have to be vulnerable in a new way. It's like suddenly we're taking off our clothes in the town square. And it's like, wait, this is not what I meant in terms of reimagining the dream of what relationship meant and seeing things from a different perspective and transforming my connection to the community is to be stripped naked in the town square. Our sense of vulnerability is being exposed. Our sense of intimacy is being illuminated to the many. I mean, even just saying that sounds horrifying to me. I don't even know where this is coming from, but wow, that just sounds awful. That might drive you deeper into the cave. Might drive you deeper into the cave and just say, no, I'm not ready for this. So don't be too hard on yourself if you find yourself scurrying into the corners of darkness. Because fully exposing yourself in the eyes of the many may not be what you are ready for. But that little bit of exposure is going to bring to light the fears, the insecurities, the instincts that are popping up. Now you're the scorpion stinging the frog. I don't know what happened. I just did it. I don't know. Like those sort of vibes might be coming up here. They might be drawing you into the light in a manner that does not feel comfortable. You feel completely and totally exposed. Hopefully through this tension of Mars and Pluto, we're able to get beneath the surface of the secrets that lie the lies. Maybe we're able to get beneath the surface of the secrets, the lies. Maybe something is uncovered here. How much will we see? I don't know. But it does feel like something is coming to light, and whatever is being exposed is going to create some form of discomfort. And then we have the rest of the week to contemplate what we've learned. To reflect recalibrate, to regenerate, and hopefully come back stronger as we re-engage ourselves with the community, with the many. So I hope that's helpful to you as we close out the transit section of the podcast and move towards the Substack essay. And thank you to everyone who's subscribed to my Substack or to my email list. If you are subscribed, then you will receive the written copy of what I'm about to read to you here, which covers the Sun in Libra and Mars in Scorpio. Shadows of balance. The Sun in Libra, Mars in Scorpio. The Sun enters Libra, the cardinal air sign of balance, justice, and harmony. Here the spotlight turns to the scales of law and diplomacy, summoning the world to fairness, civility, and peace. Yet while the Sun illuminates Libra's chambers, Mars, the god of war, prowls in Scorpio, his own domain. Here, he is no brash soldier, but the silent avenger, the blade that cuts in darkness, the force of passion turned to destruction and rebirth. Together, these two archetypes create a paradox. The visible quest for balance, Libra, collides with the hidden war beneath the surface, Scorpio. Treaties are signed by daylight, even as blood is spilled in the night. Echoes through history. Each time this cosmic alignment occurs, Earth reflects the tension with startling consistency. The windows are brief, sometimes a week, sometimes nearly a month, but the themes return like clockwork, revealing a pattern that transcends mere coincidence. 1959 to 1965. The Cold War's Hidden Wars. 1959, October 21st to the 23rd. The Cold War hardened as Cuba fell to revolution, setting the stage for decades of proxy conflicts beneath diplomatic surfaces. 1961, October 1st to the 23rd. The Berlin Wall rose during this period, sealing families apart. The visible symbol of division was built while covert operations simmered in Cuba and shadow intelligence wars intensified. 1963, September 23rd to October 23rd. The March on Washington carried a dream of equality in August, but during this Libra-Scorpio window, that dream was shattered by President Kennedy's assassination on November 22nd. Hope for justice meeting the ultimate shadow violence. 1965, September 22nd to October 3rd. Civil rights pressed forward in the light while America plunged deeper into Vietnam's hidden war. Malcolm X had fallen to an assassin's bullet in February, and the echo of that political violence haunted this period of supposed progress. 1976 to 1980, Détente and its shadows. 1976, October 8th to the 22nd, post-Watergate America searched for stability and transparency. Yet Cold War proxy battles flared in Angola and elsewhere. Diplomacy's visible efforts undermined by invisible conflicts. 1978, September 23rd to October 23rd. The Camp David Accords were signed on September 17th, promising historic peace between Israel and Egypt. Yet during this window, the Arab world erupted in condemnation, and regional terrorism haunted the Middle East. The price of visible peace paid in shadow isolation. 1980, September 22nd to October 11th, the Iran-Iraq War erupted in blood during this period. U.S. hostages languished in Tehran, while diplomatic efforts continued publicly, even as covert rescue missions and intelligence operations worked in darkness. 1991 to 1997, New World Order and its discontents. 1991, October 16th to the 23rd, the Soviet Union collapsed into chaos during this window, while the Gulf War's scars remained fresh. The visible end of the Cold War masked the beginning of new, more complex shadow conflicts. 1993, September 26th to October 23rd, the Oslo Accords lifted hopes of Middle East peace on September 13th, but the First World Trade Center bombing in February cast its shadow over this period, revealing how peace initiatives and terrorist plots could develop simultaneously. 1995, September 23rd to October 20th, the Dayton Accords promised an end to the Bosnian War, diplomatic triumph emerging from ethnic horror. Yet the Oklahoma City bombing in April still smoldered in national memory during this period, domestic terrorism shadowing international peace. 1997, September 22nd to the 28th, Princess Diana died on August 31st, and this period captured the peak of global mourning for the people's princess. The world's visible unity in grief concealed the shadow violence that caused her death. Paparazzi pursuit, systematic failures, and the machinery that turns tragedy into spectacle. 2008 to 2012, crisis and recovery. 2008, October 3rd to the 22nd. The global financial crisis gutted economies while governments scrambled to maintain order. Visible bailouts and public assurances masked the shadow world of derivatives, hidden risks, and backroom deals that caused the collapse. 2010, September 22nd to October 23rd, the Arab Spring ignited in Tunisia during this window, setting nations ablaze with hopes for democracy. Simultaneously, WikiLeaks ripped the veil off diplomacy, exposing the shadow cables and classified communications that revealed how visible diplomacy differed from hidden realities. 2012, September 22nd to October 6th. The Benghazi attack on September 11th and 12th dominated this period's aftermath. Public calls for accountability and justice collided with partisan shadow warfare, intelligence failures, and competing narratives. The visible quest for truth becoming a hidden battleground. 2023. The pattern continues. 2023, October 11th to the 23rd. The Israel-Hamas war that began on October 7th intensified during this window. International bodies called for ceasefires and humanitarian aid. Libra's hope for balanced resolution, while shadow wars raged through tunnels, intelligence operations, and proxy conflicts that defied diplomatic solutions. The present, 2025. Now we stand again beneath the Libra Sun and Scorpio Mars, and once again the paradox reveals itself with chilling precision. A Ukrainian refugee, a woman who fled one war seeking balance and safety, was brutally murdered on a public train in Charlotte. Her death broadcast across the nation. She had escaped visible war only to fall victim to hidden violence, mental illness, systematic failures, and the shadows that lurk beneath civilization's surface. Days later, political assassination shook the United States. Charlie Kirk, known to millions, was felled by a single shot in front of students at Utah Valley University. Live cameras captured the moment. The visible pursuit of political discourse met the shadow blade of extremism, triggering manhunts and debates that echo the eternal pattern. The wars in Ukraine and Gaza grind on with no end in sight. Refugees surge across borders, straining nations and inflaming politics. Diplomatic initiatives continue in the light while shadow operations, proxy battles, and intelligence wars shape outcomes from darkness. The U.S. itself quakes with unrest. Debates over surveillance, security, and the shrinking boundaries of freedom. Each new layer of protection arrives in the wake of bloodshed, the visible quest for safety requiring invisible sacrifices of liberty. This is the paradox made manifest. Libra insists on order, justice, and balance. Mars in Scorpio reveals the shadow, that justice is demanded only after chaos, that balance is enforced through violence, that order requires sacrifice. The scales tilt with every assassination, every broadcasted murder, every protest, every law rushed through in the name of safety. And we must ask ourselves, is peace ever achieved without blood? Do we trade freedom for the illusion of safety? Can justice be written in law if power moves in shadow? Looking ahead, 2027. If history is our guide, this cycle will repeat. The sun will shine in Libra, Mars will prowl in Scorpio, and again we will see treaties, peace talks, or rulings under the light, while violence lurks in the shadows. The forms will change, the names will be new, but the rhythm remains the same. The visible quest for balance beside the hidden war that ensures balance is never granted freely. Perhaps the lesson is not to expect resolution, but to understand the paradox itself. In recognizing this pattern, we might learn to work with both sides of our nature rather than being perpetually surprised when our highest hopes meet our deepest fears. I hope this message has been empowering for you. I hope it supports you in your journey through the week. And I look forward to reconnecting with you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Weekly Transit. If you're curious to learn how these transits or any other transits may be affecting you, or if you're interested in learning more about your astrological code, contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. This episode was produced by me, Scott Tajarian. Music written by Ben Leinbach, from Listen Deep by Amber Herzog Lyman. Wishing you all the best as you ride the planetary waves.